Well, a pause is finally here. After 7 straight days of gains, we are seeing a little bit of subdued movement when it comes to the benchmark indices. Hello and welcome. This is the Market Trap. I am Agam Vakil. We've seen the Nifty come off by as much as 11 odd points. It's been a relatively quiet day of trade, but we do have gainers from Indiabulls Housing Finance, Hindalco, Infosys, and Dr. Reddy's Laboratories. But on the losing end, where the losses are a little more substantial, HPCL is down as much as 5.5%, followed by Z Entertainment down by as much as 5%, and BPCL not too far behind. We have gains, or rather losses, in NTPC, Indian Oil Corp, ONGC. So from a lot of losses in the oil and gas space where there is weakness which is evident. The advanced decline ratio has certainly changed for the negative today, with nearly one gainer for 2 losers on the NSE 500. Arcom and Godrej Properties along with Interglobe Aviation among some gainers today, with Swan Energy, VATech, Vabag, and a whole host of ADAG companies advancing in trade. Jubilant Life Sciences, on the other hand, declining by as much as 8%, followed by Shrey Infrastructure, Navkar Corp, and HPCL, along with Dilip Bilkon, down in trade. But on that note, I'm going to get in our markets editor, Neeraj Shah, for his thoughts. Neeraj, well, a pause was what we were anticipating for a very long time. It's just that it came today.
Yeah, someday you turn right? You talk about a pause every day.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, pause. The breadth was slightly wobbly today, and that was a big thing. One, two, save for the HDFC twins not performing, we would have been in a much deeper number on the Nifty as well. Yes. Having said that, let's see. IT and banks both didn't kind of quite perform too strong in the session. Opposing forces at play. ICICI Bank on the red, the HDFC twins on the gaining side, or even an IT, TCS and Infosys on either direction. But sure, bit of momentum across a lot of broader market stocks, and I think people will probably take heart from that, despite the fact that the market was so weak. Interesting reactions to PNB as well, right? Massive price and volume action since the news of Modi came out as well at 3. Yes. So it's very interesting to see the participation in the markets being very, very high. Even in today's session, both the cash market and the F&O market participation very strong. So interesting times. The Fed decision and the reaction of the EMs tomorrow while we are on leave would probably determine how we do on Friday morning. Doesn't seem to be too many negative surprises in store, but you never know. Right.
Well, fair enough, Neeraj. Thank you for joining us and getting us those updates and, of course, the perspective there. But, well, among the few areas that we are tracking today, right at the top, we also have the metals pack, where we have a little bit of movement in iron ore prices. And for that, I'm going to get in Nikki Mirchandani, who's joining us to give us an update on the same. Nikki, what are the updates here?
So data in iron ore futures, after they've snapped 6 consecutive sessions, the rising trend has been snapped today. It's down by as much as 6.5%. It's probably the biggest fall on an intraday level or on the closing basis that the futures have registered since November 2017. November 2018. This comes right after the development that Brazilian court has allowed Vale to resume operation at its Brucutu mines, which produces effectively 30 million tons a year. On its website, the company notified that it still awaits appropriate authorities' approval to go ahead and resume the mining operation. However, on the face of it, with the Brazilian government actually giving, ruling in the favor of the company, definitely augurs well for the company. And in effect to this, we saw the iron ore future prices going down and out by as much as 6% odd. Reacting to that, we also saw NMDC, which ended the day lower by a price cut of around 3.5%. We spoke to the management earlier part of the day, and they indicated that the company until now has not undertaken any price hike. So it remains to be seen whether or not the company now will be in a position to go ahead and take the price hike going forward.
Okay, Nikki, thanks for joining us and getting us those updates. So that's as far as the metal pack's concerned, but we have more updates from the aviation sector as well. And for that, I'm going to get in Vishwanath Nair, who's tracking developments with respect to Jet Airways specifically into the conversation. In the latest, Vishwanath, what do we have?
We know from our sources that now Etihad has firmly said that they want to back out of the resolution plan. They would much rather prefer to sell their stake, about 24% in Jet Airways. They want to sell that entire stake and get out of the asset. Primarily, all of this conversation, as we spoke earlier this week, on Monday there was a meeting between the Etihad CEO and SBI chairman, where the Etihad CEO raised a few issues with the resolution plan that the lenders have presented, primarily around a right of recompense that the lenders are seeking from the bidder, from the investor, as well as some issues about what Etihad's final stake is going to look like after it infuses that equity into the company. After these issues were raised, eventually Etihad came back to SBI and said that they're not interested in participating in this deal at all. Last evening, there was a meeting between all the lenders where SBI conveyed whatever it had had a conversation about with Etihad, and all the lenders agreed that now they have to look for an alternative plan. Right. This alternative plan essentially is to look for a new buyer, because not only will this new buyer need to buy Etihad's stake from the Abu Dhabi-based airline, but they will also have to infuse more equity into the company, which is extremely crucial for Jet.
Right.
Again, remember they've been grounding planes because they've not paid lessors, they've not paid employees salaries for months. They've also had issues with repaying lenders. Now, there was a pilots union that announced yesterday that if they are not paid their dues, then they will likely go on strike from April 1st. So all of these issues are currently playing out. Just a few minutes ago, the SBI chairman made a few comments about Jet and said that the bankers will make all efforts to try and stabilize Jet's operations and try to keep it afloat. So it needs to be seen, how exactly they're going to deal with this. They have a very short time period. Remember that the RBI allows only 180 days to resolve or to implement a resolution plan, failing which you have to send the company to the NCLT. Right. Of those 180 days, about 90 days are already over. Right. By the end of March, that first 90-day period will end, and banks will first classify the account as an NPA. Then they have only about 90 odd days left to find a new buyer and actually implement the plan. Right. Seems like a very short time leash and a lot to achieve for the bankers, so we still need to see how that happens.
Absolutely. Well, a lot more questions there, but Vishwanath, thank you for joining us and getting us more updates on the same. Well, things certainly do seem to be a little more dire for Jet Airways in comparison to what we were facing, yesterday. And we'll continue to bring in more updates on the same, but on that wrap, it's a wrap on the markets, and lots more lined up. Stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint, and we will keep bringing you more.